Hello and welcome to Lunch and Learn. This is Meeting Room 101 today. I'm Michelle with the library, and with me are...
I'm Jody, and I'm the adult programmer at the Fredericksburg branch.
And I'm Carrie, and I'm the meeting room manager at the Salem Church branch.
And we are here today to help you book a meeting room or a study room or even a privacy pod. So let's get into it. Okay, so everything you wanted to know about meeting rooms, study rooms, and privacy pods with us. So meeting rooms. If you can go back one, Jody. Thank you. All right. We can accommodate 12 to 224 people. It completely depends on the branch. Reservations can be requested at least 72 hours, no more than a year in advance. We've got rules for for-profit businesses, which we will discuss later. It requires at least 4 customers to use a meeting room. They can be booked a maximum of once a week, but restricted to once a month as need be. It requires a library card in good standing. They can be booked for as long as the room is available, only limited by other reservations and the hours the library is open. And the exception for reservations going past closing will be discussed later. Meetings held in the library spaces are open to the public, and reservations for the rooms are held for 30 minutes after the start time. Study rooms. So the study rooms are usually a little bit smaller. They can accommodate 1 to 11 people, depending on the branch. They can be booked the day of or for the next day. They are not restricted to 1 reservation per week. It does require an email, but not a library card. They can only be booked for 2 hours at a time. If the room is still available near the end of the reservation, more time can be requested through library staff. Use of these rooms and privacy pods is private. They are not open to the public, so these are good if you need to have a one-on-one talk or an interview, anything that's a little more private that you don't need everyone else hearing. These rooms are held for only 15 minutes after the start of the reservation. So the privacy pods are even smaller than the study rooms. They are typically 1 to 4 people, depends on the branch. Same rules as study rooms, and the pods are typically smaller than study rooms. All right. And now Jody will take it away.
Right. Meeting rooms versus study rooms are privacy pods. This is helping you decide what you need when you need it. When should you book a meeting room? When you need a larger space, when you need a longer time than 2 hours, when you need to have a reservation more than 1 day in advance, or you need the AV equipment such as projector, DVD player, etc. for your meeting. But you still must meet all of the meeting room requirements. When should you book a study room or privacy pod? For same day or next day study meeting. When you need to meet with someone in person or virtually for a private meeting like a telehealth call or an interview.
How do I know which room is right for me?
All right. So when you go to our website, librarypoint.org, and go to our meeting room section, which we will show you how to get to later today, you will see that when you get to your meeting rooms, you will see that each of the rooms has next to it what their capacity is. This allows you to know what size room you can use. So if you need it like 30 people, you know not to book room 4. Once you click on the room itself, it will show you all the specifics that are in that room. Such as room 1, the capacity is 45. That is the size of the room, and it shows you what it includes and the available equipment for that room. So that can help you decide if that room is right for you.
Booking a meeting room.
Okay, so the best way to book a meeting room is to use our website. And in order to do that, let's see. Oh, sorry.
Technology.
Yeah, it's always fun. All right. I should have done that a little bit faster.
There we go.
But, all right. So on our website, you can find the meeting room page in the services drop-down menu. Down here, meeting rooms, study rooms, or privacy pods. And that takes you to the page that includes information about the rules for using a room. You can see there's a lot of FAQs over on the right-hand side. And here are the additional restrictions on for-profit businesses and organizations that we mentioned earlier. Those types of groups are restricted to reserving only 3 months in advance, as opposed to everybody else who can do 12 months in advance. It does talk about some of the different things. At the largest space at each of our large branches, so Fredericksburg, Howell, Porter, and Salem Church, is considered a separate category of room. And those rooms may incur a fee if you are reserving that, but it would not be something that you have to, if it's waived, it'll be waived in the approval process once you submit your reservation. And it is $80 an hour, which is pretty comparable or actually lower than a lot of other event spaces in the Fredericksburg area. If you scroll down even further, you can see a list of branches now. And here, there's also a video that will walk you through this process if you want to watch that later. But we're going to just go to one of the branches. And that takes you to the grid that you saw on the previous slide. This is the Snow branch. They have 2 meeting rooms. Room 1 has a capacity of 50 people. Room 2 has a capacity of 25. And then they have 1 study room, which has a capacity of 6. You can see that the study room is the only one that has this bar with the red and the green because we're this is for today. So that's showing you what's available today in the study room. In order to request a meeting room reservation, you would have to scroll out. If there's a specific date you're looking for, let's say we're looking for July 28th. And then it's at midnight that time, so we do need to scroll over. And you can see that both room 1 and room 2 are available between the hours of 12 and 4, but it looks like room 2 is not available in the evening, and room 1 maybe for an hour. In order to start your reservation, you want to click on the box when you'd like your reservation to start, remembering that you do need to include any setup and cleanup time in your reservation request, as you will only have access to the room during the time of your reservation. So let's say I'm doing a 1 o'clock meeting. I would click on 12:30, and you can see the default reservation length of 1 hour then turns yellow or orange, depending on your screen. If you want longer than that, you scroll down under the grid to this drop-down menu and select the end time. And it'll tell you that the next group's reservation is starting at 5. Well, my meeting is only from 1 to 3, so I'm going to give myself a half hour afterwards and just select 3:30 as the ending time for my reservation. So I've got some time to clean up. And you can see that then that entire length has turned yellow. Then you scroll down a little bit to the Submit Times button and log in there. Now here's where you need to log in with your barcode number and your PIN, and in order to continue with the process. So I'm going to log in, and that will take me to the meeting room terms and conditions. And this is a lot of the same things that were on that landing page originally. I'm just talking about the different rules for using the rooms, expectations. And once you've read through all of those, if you agree to abide by them, then you click continue. And here's where I fill in all of my information. And then not a for-profit business. And you just need to answer all of the questions that have an asterisk. This question does ask, will you be charging admission or a fee to attendees or participants? If you click yes, a message will pop up that you have to have that. Anything that you plan on charging has to be approved by the library in advance. There are the rules about fees and things are on in the FAQs and in the terms and conditions and policies for our meeting rooms. So it really is best to assume you won't be able to. There's a very limited number of circumstances where we would allow it, but yeah, it's generally everything held in the library should be free and open to the public, because that's mostly our policy. And then you have the option to select, and this is just an estimate of the number of people that you expect. You don't have to have like an actual guest list or anything. You have the option to select additional AV equipment in the meeting rooms. And let's say I want to use the projector and the screen. And then this question, do you intend to serve alcohol? If you click yes on that, it will give you the notification that you may serve alcohol as long as you obtain your own a banquet license from the Virginia ABC, and you have to have that posted in the room the entire time, and you cannot sell alcohol. It has to be just you're serving it with that license. So just so you know, and I'm not in my meeting. And then you have to check that you understand that we do reserve the right to limit you to one reservation per month. Currently, the only branch that does that regularly is the Salem Church branch because of the demand for the rooms at that branch. But it may pop up at other branches on a case by case, like in certain times of the year, they might be especially busy. All right. And so once you filled out all of the forms, I understand, then submit my booking. And you get this screen that tells you which branch it was at, what room number, the time and date that you've requested, your name and contact information, which that is the default on your library card account. And so that's what you can't really change that. And at this point, what happens is that it sends an email to a group of people at the branch who mediate requests, and they will look it over, make sure that you're not, you didn't accidentally reserve, a room that has a capacity of 15 when you're going to have 45 people, things like that. And they will either approve or deny your request. And once they have done that, you get an email when you submit it saying, hey, it's been submitted, it's now pending. And then once it's been approved or denied, you'll get an email with that decision. If it's been approved, you'll have a confirmation email. And that's when you have a reservation, not when you just submit this request. And you can then go back and make another booking if you would like. And that would take you back to the grid, or you can just log out. And you can also log out up in this corner right here. And that just takes you completely out, and then you are done. So.
All right. Let me put back our screens and slides. All right, now we're going to we've done both of those. We've done the meeting rooms. We've seen the privacy pods. Jody, would you like to take it away with how to do it on a smartphone?
Yes, I will.
All right. Let me put you full screen.
So a lot of our customers, of course, love to use their smartphones. Unfortunately, I will be the first to tell you that the smartphone is not, this is not really designed for it. That's why you probably find it very complicated sometimes. But I'm going to show you to the best of my ability how you can do it. So you'll want to start from our website, which is librarypoint.org. From there, you're going to hit these three little lines, and you're going to go down to services, and then you're going to go to meeting rooms, study rooms, or privacy pods. And it will take you to the same page that we just saw on the computer, but it's smaller and because of the fact that it's on a phone. Then you're going to come down and find where you want to book, and you're going to click that. And as you can see, it starts again. It's a very much smaller screen, unfortunately. And so I'm going to show you how to book a study room, since that is commonly what is booked on this. So I'm going to just do it for tomorrow, since it can only be booked for today or tomorrow. And again, it does start at midnight. So yeah, I have to scroll over.
And Jody, could you hold that a little bit closer to the screen?
I am very sorry.
Thank you. Yep.
So yeah. And then you click, and for study rooms, it automatically gives you 2 hours. You could shorten it. You cannot lengthen it. It will also only give you to the next booking in that room if there's someone that's booked after it. And like we have said before, towards the end, you can go and ask if you can have more time, and we will accommodate if you can. So then you hit submit time, and you can go through all our terms and conditions and read them. Once you do that, you hit continue, and then you fill out your name. And also, you have to have an email. Unfortunately, it is required for everyone booking any of the rooms to have a valid email address. It will not book if you do not put it in. And then you hit submit booking. And it's booked. And with study rooms, they are automatically booked instead of like with meeting rooms in which you have to wait for the mediation. Now you can also technically book from our Curl mobile app, but it's actually a little more complicated, and you're basically will be going to the website again. So with this one, you would have to go to the Curl mobile and then hit locations.
Pause for technology.
Sorry. And then you would use your branch, and then you would have to scroll down here to where it says meeting room study rooms and click on that. And it basically takes you back to the website, to the page. So it's technically probably easier just to go through the website, since going through the app has a couple more processes. But if that's how you do it, you can do it. And it's the same process.
So Jody, top tips for using the mobile website. Would it be that they want to just make sure they're scrolling carefully so they don't miss anything?
Yeah, scroll carefully. Do not. And also, you can, of course, always, if you know you're going to want to come in tomorrow, you can always, when you're here and we want to come in tomorrow, you can always book through us or through one of our onto one of our computers if you think that'll be easier. But like I said, with the mobile and all, just be careful where you click, because it can be very sensitive and you could be clicking at a time that you didn't want to start. And also make sure you read the reservation carefully, because we've had occasionally that someone thought they got 2 hours, but there was someone that had it booked before their 2 hours would have been over, and so they didn't get their full 2 hours.
Okay. All right. So we'll go back to our presentation portion. So that's a smartphone. All right, booking rooms for businesses. So we're going to go over that. If you are a business, these are general public, not-for-profit groups, and educational organizations. That's different. So those are the ones that we've been talking about pretty much the whole time. They're the ones who can reserve up to 12 months in advance on a rolling basis. They are not charged for room use. Now, for-profit businesses and organizations with some different groups and things like that we'll go over, they can reserve these rooms for up to 3 months in advance on a rolling basis. They can reserve the Fredericksburg Branch Theater and the largest combined rooms at Howell, Porter, and Salem Church branches up to 6 months in advance for a performance. They do have to pay a fee of $80 per hour for use of the Fredericksburg Theater and the largest combined rooms, again, the same ones, Howell, Porter, and Salem Church at those branches. The fee is to be paid prior to the reservation start time, after the reservation has been approved. So you don't have to pay until it's approved, but you do still have to pay. And then it's confirmed by library staff. So the designation, or we consider for-profit businesses and organizations, it also includes for-profit artistic groups that are going to charge fees for classes, memberships, or participation. The designation does not apply to educational organizations, including but not limited to GED, special needs, ESOL, and homeschool groups, to align with Curl's policy of lifelong learning. Okay, after-hour events. We do have a few options for after-hour events, which is the Fredericksburg Theater. It's the only option. It's the only one that can be used for after-hour events. It can be requested, but to do this, you have to request a reservation that begins at least 30 minutes before the library closes. Once your reservation has been approved, you have to send an email to the Fredericksburg manager to request an after-hours reservation. You must check in at least 30 minutes before the library closes, because all outside doors will be locked at closing. If you are not there before the library closes, you are locked out. Your event must end by 10 p.m. After-hour reservations are only available on days when the library is open. Again, if the doors are locked, you're not getting in. And after-hour reservations cannot be booked in less than 72 hours in advance. We do need advance notice about this. Jody, who works at Fredericksburg, can give any more tips and pointers on that.
I'm just going to let you know, Fridays and Saturdays are usually our biggest ask for that. So There's a few tips and tricks later on that we'll be discussing. So if you know you're going to want a Saturday or a Friday night, book as early as you possibly can. And also, when we say when we're not open, that does include Sundays and bank holidays and such when we're closed.
Okay. All right, and here's some suggestions and tips for you. Keep your library card account up to date. The email on your account is the primary way you will be contacted about your reservation. So if you're wondering why you haven't gotten an email, make sure we've got the right one on file for you. Plan as far ahead as possible. There tends to be more room availability further out. Again, Fridays and Saturdays are especially busy in the bigger rooms. Reservations on those days are more likely to be limited to once a month. If you're using any of our equipment, such as the projector, you can contact your branch to arrange a run-through before your meeting. This is usually done through the branch manager or department head. At Salem Church, this can be done through the meeting room manager. You will only have access to the room during the time of your reservation. Any setup or cleanup does need to be included during your reservation request. It completely brackets the whole thing. It includes setup and cleanup. So there can be someone who's using the room right up to where your reservation begins and or right after your reservation ends. So you have to be ready. All right. So some other questions and answers. Can the meeting rooms be booked for private events? Carrie?
The answer is no. We don't allow our rooms to be used for things like bridal showers, baby showers. We even had someone request a housewarming that they wanted to have at the library one time. Anything that is held in this space, in our library spaces, is considered open to the public, and you can't have anything that is that there's sales at, or that you're charging people. We talked a little bit about fees before. You can't charge people to be there, with some very limited exceptions that do need to be approved in advance, and also some very loud. So we've had some groups where they were loud enough to disrupt. None of our rooms are soundproofed, so they were loud enough to disrupt people in the rooms around them, and we had to ask them to not have reservations anymore, because that's just not being considerate of the other library customers. So that's where all of that comes in. Can I have access to a kitchen? There is a small public kitchen available for people using the largest rooms at several of the branches. That information is on the website. So for example, at Salem Church, if you were requesting a reservation, in our two big rooms are room 1 and room 2, and they can be combined into room 1 and 2 combined. And if you're using one of those spaces, you can request the use of a kitchen that is just a refrigerator, a microwave, and a coffee maker. And you have to bring all of your own supplies, and you do have to clean the kitchen up afterwards so that it's ready for the next group. People use, and groups using other meeting rooms in the branch don't have the option of using the kitchen. You are welcome to have food at your food and refreshments, whatever, at your event. You just wouldn't have access to the kitchen if you were in another space, or if somebody else had requested the kitchen. Say you're using room 1 and a group that is going to be using room 2 had requested the kitchen before you. It's not available for you to use. So there are some restrictions, and all of that would take place, and anything, while they're mediating your request, if the kitchen's not available for some reason, you'll be contacted in an email, or generally in an email.
So how about a last minute use of the kitchen?
Again, for groups using room 1 or room 2, if you did not add it on your original reservation, if no one else has it reserved, the staff at the desk can add that to the reservation when you check in. But you are, you're still bound by all the same rules and everything, and it may not be available, like I said, if another group has already requested it.
How about charging money for participants?
And again, everything held at the library, in general, you should assume you can't charge people anything. You can't have sales at them, except under a very limited set of circumstances that just fill out the form as best you can. And then during the mediation process, we look at that, and we'd reach out to you if we needed some additional information regarding your request and the fee that you'd like to charge.
Can I have the room set up or broken down by the library?
No, we just honestly do not have the staff to do that, especially in the busier branches where and there's not time in between. People have the room and then there's someone else immediately after them, and we barely have enough staff for the desks, let alone cleaning up. So that is your responsibility. That is included in, what you agree to when you reserve one of our meeting rooms. And you are expected to leave the room reset to the default layout and clean and ready for the next group to use it. Because as we mentioned earlier, there might be a group immediately after you. And if you don't do that, then we will have to we will have to charge you a fee, and that will impact your ability, like you're borrowing at the library, because it goes on your library account.
Well, I need to cancel my reservation. How can I do that?
There are a couple ways you can do that. Your confirmation email that you get when your reservation is approved does have a link that you can use. It says to cancel this reservation, and then you would just click on that. And then that you can just do that online, or you can call the branch and talk to the adult services desk, and they can cancel that for you.
Oh, but I need a reservation, but I missed the booking window. What can I do?
Those are what we call last minute reservations. And you're certainly welcome to call the branch. There are some rules about, the size of the group, and you're limited by what is available. If you call and you're like, I have 50 people and I need to have a meeting, and we're like, sorry, all we have is a 10-person room. We just can't do that for you, but we can help see if one of the other branches might have a room available. If it's a small group, you're more likely to be able to be accommodated, and definitely a staff member would have to set that reservation up for you, because as we've mentioned before, it wouldn't be visible, and you can't request a reservation on our website.
And also I would like to add to that only usually the department heads or the branch managers can do the last minute bookings. So if they are not there, I'm saying this especially for nights and weekends, when they're often not there, there will be no one there that can book it, even if we do have a space for you.
Yeah.
So to sum that up, wow, we really want to help you as much as we can. We do need you to plan ahead whenever possible.
Yep.
All right. And with that, I believe we are at its end. Yep. We're at its end. Any final tips from any of you?
Like I said, early bird gets the worm.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of groups that use our rooms on a regular basis too, like once a month. And they are usually scheduled out, the full 12-month booking window that is available. So definitely the further out that you go, the more likely it is that there will be something available. If you run into, you have any problems, maybe ask if the group would be willing to consider a different branch than what you were looking at. Some branches have more availability than others.
Yeah, flexibility. And like I said, we're already having this. Summers and the winter, especially December, are our busiest time. So,
and I also recommend, if you're thinking you're going to do an event and you have a general time frame, look at what's available. Request a reservation if you find something available, because you can always cancel it later if the date changes or something. But I tell, when I'm talking to customers, I'm like, I would rather you have a reservation and cancel it than look and be like, oh, this is available, and then your group starts planning that date. And when you go to request a reservation, the room's not available anymore. So definitely, if you see something, grab it. I mean, not being greedy, but if you have a date in mind and there is a room available that will accommodate your event, request that reservation. And then if something changes, you can contact us and let us know that you don't need it anymore.
All right. And with that, we're all set. We hope you will find that helpful booking some rooms. Again, if you need any more help, you can come see any library staff in person or give us a phone call. We've got it all on our website. And I think we'll say goodbye.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.